Hey guys, this is a tutorial on how to write your name with a magic marker in Scratch. So the first thing you need to do is find the project. That can be found in Google Classroom. Go to your class, go to classwork, scroll down and find the project. In this instance, it's number 8, tutorial number 5, write your name with a marker. We've got the video that you're looking at now, and we've got a link to the project that you're going to remix that I have in Scratch for you. So click on the link to the project. That takes you to Scratch in a new tab. And the first thing you want to do is click the Remix button so that the project will belong to you. So click Remix, and you'll notice once you've clicked the Remix button that there's a few things that are already set up for you. First of all, we've got our markers, our marker sprite. Now if you come over to Costume, you'll notice that we've got a number of markers. We've got 7 different choices, some colors that are already chosen for you, and a blank marker that you could fill the color in and make that whatever color you want. We'll get back to that after. Next, we've got our background on our stage. So if you go to backdrops, you'll notice, so if you go to stage over here on the right-hand side and then come up to backdrops, you notice that there's 2 different backdrops. There's the XY grid, and then there's the dark background that we'll use at the very end. Okay? Now we use the XY grid just to help us keep track of where we're at. It has some coordinates labeled on there that make it easy for us to see where we're at. So remember, x-axis goes left and right, y-axis goes up and down. We've got 0 for both of them exactly in the middle. Okay? All the way to the right, we've got x 240. All the way to the left, we've got x negative 240. All the way to the top, we've got y 180. And all the way to the bottom, we've got negative y 180. Okay? All right. So let's get started. We'll go back to markers, go back to code. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring out a event block when green flag is clicked. And then we're going to bring out a go-to block. So we'll go to motion, and we'll bring out a go-to X and Y. Now, the coordinates that go in here will depend on where you want to start. A good place to start is right here in the top left-hand corner, and the coordinate for that. And let me show you a little trick on how to get to the coordinates. So let me go to, let's see, I want to show this marker. So, because it's not currently showing up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to looks. I'm going to grab a show block, and if I just click on the block, the marker shows up. Okay? I'm not actually going to use this. Well, I might use it a little later, but for now I'm just using it to make the marker show up. This is a clear marker. Now, if I want to start in this spot right here, okay, to find out what the coordinate for that is, there are a couple different ways I can do it, but probably the easiest way is to simply drag the tip of the marker right to that point. And that'll give us a very close idea of what the coordinates are. Now, where do you see the coordinates? If you come down here, you'll see that X is represented right here. So currently, X, which it reminds you, X is left and right, is currently 204. I like to make things negative 204. I like to make things nice and neat, so I'm going to actually just put 200 right there. Negative 200. And then the Y coordinates show up right here, and notice they give us a little reminder up and down is Y, and it says 102, and I'm going to round that down to just 100. So currently, the marker, the tip of the marker, is at X negative 200 and Y 100, and that's what that is right there. So that's a good thing to remember, guys. Anytime you want to figure out where you want the marker to go, just drag the tip of the marker to the spot that you want, and those coordinates will show up right here. And I'll be demonstrating that as we go along. So if I want the marker to start there, I need to put those coordinates in right here into this go-to block, this go-to command. So I said it was negative 200 for X, and Y was was just regular 100. And so I'm going to drag that up there. And now notice if I move if I move the marker down and I click on this, if I click on the green flag, it's going to bring it over here. Okay, because that's what that command does right there. Okay, so next, we are going to need a show command. We are going to need a switch costume to command. So let's find that. That is on the looks palette. Switch costume to. Now, we've got some different choices. Currently, it's set up on the first marker that shows in the costume area, which is blank. Okay, but if we want to choose one of these, we can do that. So we go to the code, and notice we've got a drop-down arrow right here, and it gives us the choices for the marker. So I'll choose blue. Okay, so switch costume to blue marker. Now notice when I click the green flag, it'll run this code. It'll go to this coordinate, it'll show, and then it'll switch costume to blue marker. Watch. Okay. All right. So next, we need some pen commands. So we're going to come down, and if the pen commands are not showing, we need to come down to this Add Extension button. Click on that, and let's select pen. Okay, and here are our pen commands. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to set the pen color. Okay, so currently it's set at this color, but we want to change it to this color. So what you can do is if you click in the color area, you need to sample the color. You want it to be the same color as this, so use the eyedropper tool, click on it, bring it up to the marker, click on it, and then that is the exact same color. All right, put that right in there. We want to drag out and erase all command. That the reason why is every time you start the project, you want it to erase anything that had been there before. Then we want to drag out a set pen size command, set pen size, and we'll set this pen size to 5. And then the next thing we want to drag out is a pen down command. And this actually puts pen to paper, so to speak. Okay? All right, so if I click the green flag, all it didn't look like it did anything, but it ran all this code. Okay? So what you want to do next depends on what your name is, what the first letter of your name is. Now, for this particular example, I'm going to write the name Bob, B-O-B Bob, okay? Now, you are not going to write Bob unless your name is Bob, okay? Instead, you're going to write your name. Now, we have some boundaries here. Up here at the top, okay, I don't want to go above Y100. And down here towards the bottom, I don't want to go below -100. So everything's going to be basically on these two squares, okay? So first thing I want to do is I want to drag out, I'm going to go to motion, and I want to drag out a glide to command, okay? So glide X number of seconds to X this coordinate, Y that coordinate. Now for the number of seconds, let's change that to 0.5. Take a half a second for it to glide to where it's going to be. And what we want to do is we want the marker to glide right down to here, okay? Now, what's the coordinate for that? Now, remember, there's a couple different ways to find that. You can just drag it down and look at what it says right here, but we can also be logical, okay? So question for you. If I'm dragging this straight down to this spot right here, am I moving the marker at this point right or left? No, I'm not. It's just going straight down. So it's not moving right, it's not moving left. So therefore, because it's not moving right or left, the X value, this value right here, will not change from the previous command. The previous command, it was X -200. So it's still going to be -200 because that's not changing. I'm not going left or right. I'm just going down. Okay? So I'm going to be coming down here. And this right here is a little cheat sheet, tells us what the address is on the y-axis. So it's -100. Okay? As I said before, all our coordinates are going to be between y -100 and y100. So this right here needs to change from y100 to y -100. And now, once again, I could have just dragged the marker down and got an idea of where it was going to be by doing this. So look, it says, just by eyeballing it, it says x negative 198, y negative 100. And like I said, we can round that. Try to avoid using numbers like 198. Just keep it nice and simple. Go right to the, you just round up. I'll just go right to 200, okay, in that case. So you can see that's where we're going. So that's really important to remember, guys. Anytime you want to figure out where you're going, you need to, you can use the background and look at the look at the coordinates that are on there already, or like I said, just drag the point of the marker and that tells you where it is. Okay, so I'm going to attach this and I'm going to run it, and that's what it did. Okay, all right. So next, we need to, well, I'm writing the name Bob, so I'm using a capital B to start with. So I need to bring the marker back to where we started. Now, here's something to keep in mind. Try to write in a way that is as natural as possible. And what I mean by that is, think about if you had a piece of paper and a marker in front of you in real life. How would you write a letter? Okay? Try to mimic the way that you would actually write a letter. So in real life, if I was writing a letter, the first thing I would do is write the stem of the B, then bring it back up, and then write the first top part of the B, and then the second part of the B, just like that. So that's what I'm going to try to mimic with what I'm doing here with my code. Okay? All right. So next, we want to bring the marker back up to the starting point. So I'm going to use a go-to command for that. Now, I can do that one of two ways. I can drag out a new go-to command and type in the command here, or this go-to command is the exact coordinates of what I want. So if I wanted to, I could just separate that for a second, right click on this and hit duplicate, and notice it gave me the exact same. Either way will work, okay? You can either drag out a new one or duplicate that one. So let's run it. All right, so what did it do? It did all this. It started off here, showed the marker, switched the costume to a blue marker, set the pen color to blue, erased everything, set the pen size to 5, put the pen down, glided down to x negative 200, y negative 100, and then instantly went back up to x negative 200, y 100, and that's where we're at right now. Okay, so what's next? What do we want to do? So I want to, I'm gonna drag out a glide 2 block, okay, and I'm going to change this to 0.5. We'll have them all 0.5. And I need to fill in the coordinates of where I want it to go next. So I'm thinking I probably want it to go roughly right about here. So what does that end up being? So if I look down here, if I look down at my x and y, it says x negative 148, y 100. So again, let's avoid doing numbers like negative 148. Let's just round that up to 150. Okay, and that's right there. All right, so my coordinates right here are going to be glide 0.5 seconds to x negative 150 and y 100, because I didn't go up or down yet, so that stays the same. So let's attach that and let's run it. All right, cool. So next, for my B, now there's different ways you can do the B. I can do a really blocky one, but I'm going to try to put a couple little angles in here so it kind of looks okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is figure out where I want it to go. So maybe right about there. So that's close to where I want, but maybe I'll round it a little bit. So I'll do negative 125. And then this will be 75. So it'll come from here right to here. Okay, so let me drag out a block, or you know what I can do is I can duplicate the last block I did so I don't have to redo the 0.5. And so what did I say? I said I want it to be x negative 125 and then y 75. So at this point, because I'm moving it both horizontally and vertically, I have to change both x and y. So let me attach those and let's see what it looks like. All right, that looks all right. So next, I'm going to drag it down to, I'm going to come straight down. So because I'm coming straight down, let me duplicate this. Because I'm coming straight down, the x coordinate isn't going to change on this, okay? Because I'm not going left, I'm not going right, I'm just going straight down for a little bit, okay? Now, I want to probably bring this down to a little bit more than that. Yeah, right about there, okay? So good coordinate for that is x negative 125, y 25. Let me attach that. Let's see what that does. There we go. So next, I want to bring the marker in to right about there. So that's going to be, looks like it's going to be, let's see. So the y will be 0. That's right on the 0. And the x coordinate, I'm going to bring it in maybe a little bit further. So maybe right about there. So, okay, so how about if we do, for this, in this instance, x negative 175 and y 0. Okay, we'll see how that looks. So let me duplicate this last command and put in the right coordinates. X is negative 175, and then y will be 0 because we're right at the 0 line. Okay, let's see what that does. Okay, that could also look like a P if I wanted it to. So next I'm basically going to do the mirror of what I just did. I'm going to come back out to here. Okay. And so roughly that's going to be, if I round these up, that's probably going to be x negative 125, y negative 25. So x negative 125, y negative 25. So right about there. All right, so let me duplicate this and put in the correct x coordinate. So that'll be negative 125, and then that'll be negative 25. Let's see what that does. Okay, so good. So now, again, I'm just doing the mirror. I'm going to drag this down to right about here. So that's going to be in the neighborhood of x negative 125 and y negative 75. So x negative 125, y negative 75. That's what this next one's going to be. So let me duplicate this. And so the x value isn't changing because I'm not going left, I'm not going right, I'm just going straight down, so x stays the same. What is changing is the y value because I'm going down. So from negative 25, we'll change that to negative 75, and then run it. Okay, cool. So next, we're going to want to drag this down to right about here. Notice I'm sort of mirroring what I did up there. So what does that end up being? That ends up being about negative 150 and for x and negative 100 for y. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this last one. I'm going to put in the correct coordinates, which is x negative 150 and y negative 100. Attach it, run it. Okay, and then to finish it off, I'm just going to come right back to here. And that ends up being about negative 200 for x and y negative 100. So let me duplicate this. So x negative 200 and y is going to stay negative 100 because I'm not going up or down, I'm just going to the left. So let me run that. There we go. So now we've got a B.